Alright guys, we are back, and that was like 2 minutes from me. So anyway, we're going to be talking about some nerve cells, and what do we got? The aim is called neurological cells. That's what we're going to look at today. And there are probably more of these neurological cells than there are neurons. Let's take a look at the following ones that we are going to have to describe. We are going to have these appendable cells. We are going to have microglia. We are going to be looking at oligodendrocytes. And one of my favorite, something called an astrocyte. And then, of course, you can actually see the neuron, which I'll draw for you in a little while. And if you remember living environment, it'd be a piece of cake. And if you took AP Bio, forget it. That's simple stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to start. We'll start nice and simple. We'll start with the microglia. That's this one over here. I have another picture right there for you. Microglia. That's that one that we're looking at. And if you take a look at it, it's just like a cell body. Looks like it has the little dendrites coming off, but it doesn't have the long axon on there. And again, I will draw the cells and make sure that you understand what I'm talking about, but we're just introducing you to these terms. These microglia, they're immune cells. So what does that mean? They function in immunity. They get rid of pathogens. They get rid of foreign invaders that come into the central nervous system, brain, spinal cord. That's their primary function. And there's actually research that says that these microglia become hyperactive during times where people have Alzheimer's and all sorts of neurological degenerative diseases, meaning they're destroying your own cells. It's a pretty interesting thing there. So the microglia, we'll write that down over here. Microglia, these are immune cells. Immune. In the central nervous system. Again, this is the central nervous system. We are not looking at the peripheral nervous system. And so, being immune cells, these will engulf foreign pathogens, foreign invaders. Right? What else do I have? Do I have anything else with that? Nope, that was it. Alright, so moving on, we will take a look at, we'll do oligodendrocytes. How's that? Actually, no, you know what? We'll do the appendable cells next. We'll do that. Alright, appendable cells. I want to make sure I spell this right. E-P-E-N, P-E-N, ependable cells. So take a look at these ones. Right? Do they look like something that we've done before? Look at that. That is a simple cuboidal epithelial cell with a little cilia on the outside. So what do? They are making cerebrospinal fluid. Isn't that crazy? So something that we did back in like October, now we finally get to talk about now. So their job is to secrete cerebrospinal fluid. And they also line the brain and the spinal cord. So we're going to put that in there too. I think I had it written down a little bit better there. Did I? No, I didn't. All right, so these line the brain cavity, but I'm just going to write the brain and the spinal cord, really the spinal cavity. And they make and they secrete cerebrospinal fluid. Keep everything all lubricated. Nice. Alright, so our next one, we could take a look at the oligodendrocyte. Oligodendrocyte. Josh, come here.
What?
Can you say oligodendrocyte?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oligodendrocyte.
There you go. Nice job. That's Josh. He's the one that likes the anatomy. Alright, bye.
Bye.
Alright, so the oligodendrocyte. Are you alright? Oh, he jumped on the ground. That's what happens when you try and do work with kids. This is why you cannot bring your kids to school. Alright, so oligodendrocytes, these will be they make, and if we actually look at it, let's take a look, right? You see where they are? You see how they're on this piece of the neuron that's called the axons? You see that? You see that? But that's not the axon. That's a myelin sheath. They actually make the myelin sheath in the central nervous system. So now if you're saying, wait a minute, Mr. Gordon, you taught us that the Schwann cell makes myelin sheath, if you had me for living environment and you remember everything I said, that is true. The Schwann cell does make the myelin sheath, but they make it in the peripheral nervous system, not in the central nervous system, and we'll get to that in a minute. But anyhow, the oligodendrocytes, they get their hands, if you want to call them, all over the axons in the brain, in the spinal cord, and they make the myelin sheath. Now, what is a myelin sheath? What's the point of that? What is the point of that covering? The covering helps to transmit that nerve impulse quicker without any interruptions. And for people who have MS, they have issues with that myelin sheath, and the nerve message is not going through all the way, or it's not strong enough, and then sometimes they can't walk, can't breathe, all sorts of health problems that come along with MS. Alright, so, it just crashed. Welcome to the world of OneNote. Give me a minute. There we go. We're back. Okay. And I didn't lose anything, which is amazing. Alright, so the oligodendrocyte. This makes the myelin sheath. And that myelin sheath, it helps the nerve impulse move throughout the neuron. I'm putting 2. I'm spelling that wrong. Throughout the neuron. Alright, so we got, we did the oligodendrocyte, we did the microglia, we did the ependymal cells, now we just have the astrocyte left, and the astrocyte's my favorite. If you take a look at the astrocyte, look at it, they got cute little hands. Look, look, look. What is that all about? Anyway, if you take a look at where they are, right, you notice this over here, I'll put that in sort of blue, right, it matches the color of their little hands. That is a blood vessel. It's a capillary. So they have their hands on that. And they have the hands on the neuron. What they do is they are the blood-brain barrier. They will filter out the stuff that should come in. They could give the neuron nutrients. They can keep stuff out. They're involved in structural structural support. There we go. And they also, there's studies that say they're involved in helping these neurons make the synapses or guide them where they should make their synapses. It's kind of crazy to think about that, right? Those things are doing it, but they get none of the credit. So I like their name too, astrocytes. They're like astronauts. Anyhow, we're going to write astrocytes. Astrocytes. And these play a role in the blood-brain barrier, right? So they will allow things to come in or things not to come in. They're involved in structural support. All sorts of things like that. Am I missing anything on my sheets over here? Because I made sure I had everything for your worksheets. And let me see. Blood-brain barrier supports also provides nutrients, and I said that before. Provides nutrients. Okay, so now if we actually take a look over here, I did not talk about the satellite cells. The satellite cells are like the astrocytes. They're very similar, but they're on the peripheral nervous system. None of my worksheets have anything about the satellite cell on there, and therefore I'm not going to waste any of the time on that. The Schwann cell, on the other hand, made by Mr. Schwann. That cell is found in the peripheral nervous system, and I'll write that down. Schwann cell. I'm spelling that wrong. Man, it's terrible. Schwann. Yeah, go ahead, Joshy. Say it.
What?
Say it. We didn't have to come over here. But
Schwann.
Schwann cell. There you go. The Schwann cell makes myelin sheath in the peripheral nervous system. Okay? He needs a haircut, I know, but they're all closed and he won't let me do it. I did mine though. Fresh cut. Fresh. Alright, so those are our types of neuroglia cells. Again, we have the microglia, immune cells, ependymal cells. Those are our cuboidal epithelium. They make the cerebrospinal fluid. We have the oligodendrocytes and the Schwann cells. They make the myelin sheath. Oligodendrites in the brain, spinal cord. The Schwann is outside of that. And the astrocytes are the blood-brain barrier.